Hello, everybody, and welcome to our English as second language class. Today, I have a very important writing capsule to you. We will tackle November 2024 writing paper from OxfordAQA. هنبدأ بالسؤال الأول. The first question is the photo description question. We're going to work on how to tackle the photo description question, how much time should we spend, and we will write some sample responses. We will correct them together. Let's go. When we look at the question is describe what you see in the photograph. Your description should be between 30 to 50 words. How much time should you spend on such questions? Minimum 5 minutes, maximum 10 minutes under exam conditions in order to make sure that your response is worthy of the full mark. طيب تعال نشوف ازاي نجيب الفول مارك في السؤال ده. أول سؤال أنا عايزك تبص عليه هو how much time and how many marks. Time قلنا 5 to 10 minutes. طيب how many marks would you be awarded for exercise 1 in the writing paper? The total mark of this exercise is 9 marks. الامتحان كله من 9 درجات, 9 marks. The content, which is out of 6, is based on your relevance, يعني how relevant your writing is, clear, sentence clarity, and details. وطبعا relevance is supposed to be the content of the photograph. You should write what you see in the photo without opinions. Clear, every single sentence should be very clear to read with no fragments, and details based on the use of adjectives. وهنشوف ده بالتفصيل. The next element is the language element, which is out of 3. وهنا you're awarded the marks based on 2 elements only, which are spelling and punctuation. تعال نشوف the structure of the paragraph. You should structure your paragraph out of 2 main parts. The first part, which is the topic sentence, it introduces the main idea of the photograph. What can you see generally taking place in that photograph? أو إيه الفكرة العامة اللي بتحصل في الصورة. Following that should be the background or the details. What can you see in the foreground, what you see in the background, what you see in the midground of the photograph, what is the action taking place in general in the photograph. Now, this is an example from one of the past papers. You're always asked to look closely at the photograph from a travel website and then describe what you see in the photograph. You will see the first most important thing to see is, sorry, that is very wide. Yeah, now let's make it smaller. 30 to 50 words word reference. طب وليه بقول عليه word reference? Because when you look at the marking scheme, you will see that OxfordAQA has said that very clearly. The number of words is approximate, and you must mark and credit all work produced by the student. الكلام ده موجه لمين? This is directed to the examiner. Examiners must mark and must credit all work generated by the student. وده معناه this means that you can exceed the word count if you wish, or you can stick to the given word count. But which is better, to write maximum 50 words or to simply exceed it? Wallahi, my advice is to stick to the word count if you that type of a student who might generate a lot of spelling mistakes or punctuation errors. If you are a student who's confident of their spelling mistakes or their punctuation errors and they can avoid them, then try to write 70 words. No problem. This will give you the chance to describe in depth and in more details. Like, as we've already mentioned, the 6 marks of the content are awarded based on the 3 magic words: details, relevance, and clarity. وهنشوف ده بالتفصيل. We're gonna look at this in more details when we write. And the 3 marks in language are awarded based on the 2 magic words: punctuation, accuracy in punctuation, and accuracy in spelling. Now let's look at a sample response. This sample response is provided based on the picture we've just looked at. Yeah, that cable car picture. Now when we look at the sample response written by one of the students, we will see he wrote or she wrote, there is a well-developed village which is near the ocean and surrounded by mountains. In the background of the photograph, there is an azure ocean and the great mountains are as tall as the clouds. I can easily see that the student started with a topic sentence, a topic sentence in which the student introduced the main idea of the photograph itself. There is a well-developed village which is near the ocean, surrounded by mountains. This is a general statement or a general sentence that introduces the main idea in general. I do not recommend starting with very specific details. Always start with one sentence that summarizes the entire photograph. Then move to the next sentence with support with transition words. Usually transition words that show directions are better, like in the background, in the foreground, in the midground, or you can use anything else like what I can see next to or behind or any other direction phrases or any other transition words that would be fantastic. Now let's look at the next sentence. He wrote, in the foreground of the photograph, the viewer car or the cable car is traveling along a hill which is concealed by vegetation. You can see that the level of details the student has used is very accurate and very deep, and that qualify the student to scoring 6 out of 6 in the content. Lee, because the response is detailed. The response is detailed. But when it comes to the language map, can you spot or see any mistakes? By the way, one mistake does not affect your language, but two mistakes would. That's why when we look at the writing, the student wrote here, we have capital letters used in the beginning of every sentence. We have full stops used accurately. We have punctuation and demarcation errors applied correctly. We have the majority or most of the writing is very good. That's why the student secured 3 out of 3 in the language and total 9 out of 9. Now let's look at another response for a different photo. Now looking at this photo, I'm sure you're very familiar with this exercise. Think from 2018, 2019. Now looking at the response written by the student here, he wrote or she wrote, I can see in this photo a house which is located in the middle or at the middle of a huge green area. At this point, the student should have used a full stop and started a new sentence to avoid the run-on sentence situation. He or she wrote, at the end of this large green area, there is a shore which is mainly full of rocks and a seawater having strong waves. Which is having strong waves? The shore, the seawater, the green area. There is confusion. The last sentence, there is a run-on sentence. We have to say that the student did not use enough details. Now, looking at the commentary of the examiner, OxfordAQA examiners wrote something very important here. They wrote, for this question, marks for content and communication and language have equal weighting. For this response, the marks for the content and communication could only reach band 2, which is 3 marks, due to there being some delay in communication. The errors with article use and grammar structure and grammatical structure have an impact on clarity of the writing. To sentence demarcation or to reach the top band, for language and response, the response must contain accurate spelling, and accurate punctuation. Therefore, due to sentence demarcation errors and other errors, the mark awarded was 2. علشان كده the total mark, as you can see here, he secured 3 out of 6, 2 out of 3, total 5 out of 9. طيب تعال نشوف another response هنا. The student, it's a different student here. He or she wrote, the photograph shows a picturesque view. يا سلام على a very good use of adjectives. Okay? And as we said, the most important thing to consider here is using adjectives and adverbs. The picturesque or a picturesque view of an old blue house. خدتوا بالكم? The student seized every possible opportunity to use adjectives. Situated in a tranquil green area on top of a hill. The crystal white blue sea waves are rippling towards the hill's declined brown rocks. It is very detailed. I see accuracy. I see no mistakes. And the examiner has awarded the student the full mark, and they have complimented how accurate, relevant, detailed, and clear the response is. Now, how to generate such response? In the beginning of our very short capsule, we said that the student has 5 to 10 minutes to write their response. Start with brainstorming. Number 1. How many minutes should I spend in brainstorming? 30 seconds, half a minute would be fantastic. What should I do when I brainstorm? Start by taking a quiet moment to figure out the main idea of the picture itself. This will help you decide on the topic sentence. And this should be the first thing to write a topic sentence. Use the focus point in the middle of the photo, or the most important point of the photo, or the most important action that's taken place, and use it to start your paragraph. Like in the presented photo, I can see a speeding black and yellow steam train passing gloriously through a seaside city while being crashed by violent waves. This is the topic sentence that introduces the main idea of the photo. Now move to the second most important thing, which is listing details. Try to start listing details. Move from the foreground to the midground to the background. Looking at what I can possibly cover, you can talk about what you can see in the front, then move to what is there in the middle of the photograph or in the middle of the scene. Then what can be noticed in the background can be tall trees, tall mountains, even the sky, the partly cloudy sky or the clear sky. You can also focus on objects and elements, identify all items in the photo. From large furniture pieces, animals, and people to small objects like books, maybe mugs, or anything else you can see in the photo. You can also focus on colors and texture. What color is dominant in the photo? Lights and shadows, the source of light, does it come from sunlight or artificial source of light? You can also talk about characters, emotions. Are they smiling or are they sad? Are they surprised? It's very important to mark and point out that weather and the other elements, natural elements. Is it taken in winter? Is it taken in summer? Judging by what people are wearing, of course. Sunshine, clouds, snowflakes, and more can help you decide on the weather. There are also other elements like architectural and structural elements. If the photograph or if the photo has buildings, room interiors, you should note the architectural style or types of windows, door signs, or anything else that you think is worthy of mentioning. It's also important to consider the action. What the action mean is the main action that's taking place. Maybe the main action in the photograph is the people who are shopping, maybe other people who are playing, or people who are waiting or queuing. Now, this is very important to help you decide on the main idea. Again, let's revisit the structure. The structure of the paragraph should start with the topic sentence, body paragraph in which you list all details, and the last concluding sentence, which is, by the way, an optional sentence to keep your paragraph as short as possible. This optional sentence can work as a summary of all what you mentioned above. The next part of the writing process is to revisit your paragraph and check. Can I add an extra adjective here? Can I check my spelling or punctuation? In the process, we would like to call proofreading. Proofreading. Now, let's apply on this photograph. I needed to go ahead, pause the video for a minute, and write your response to the given photograph. You should write between 30 and 50 words. Now that you have paused the video and wrote your response, let's look at this sample response 1. Sample response 1. Be a very good student and try to correct it before I do. Now, there are few mistakes here in this sample response that I want you to find. Let's read it together. The photograph captures a lively outdoor market. Well, this T letter should not be written in uppercase. It should be written as a lowercase letter. That's the first mistake. What kind of mistake is it? Accuracy problem? Yes. In punctuation. A lively outdoor, I think that's a spelling mistake. Isn't it supposed to be, double O, outdoor, double O. Market, scene. There's a missing letter here. That's another spelling mistake. In a mountainous region, women in traditional clothing are selling various. Is that various? I think that's another spelling mistake. All right. Various goods, including brightly colored fabrics, fruits, and vegetables. The full stop's correctly used here, and the sentence next to it starts with a capital letter. Tables are covered neatly with orange textiles in vibrant hues. Some shoppers and vendors are engaged in conversation while a bus in the background, that's a capital B, is parked. Now, there should be a full stop here. As you guys can see, there is a number of mistakes in this response. How many marks do you think the student have lost? خليني أفكرك. You should receive marks based on content. وهي الكيوردز بتاعت الكونتنت. Yes, شاطر. Relevance, detailed, and clear. Now, you should tell me, is it relevant? Looking at it, I think it is. Is it detailed? He used a wide range of details. Is it clear? Yes, it is. Despite having some mistakes in demarcation and spelling, still clear. يبقى أديله كم درجة? I will award the student 6 marks in the content. Now let's look at the language. We have a number of mistakes here in the language. 2 spelling mistakes, 2 demarcation errors. I think the student deserves 1 mark out of 3, and the total mark awarded for the student here is 7. Now look at another sample response. Go ahead, pause the video, and let me know what do you think, how many marks the student gets for sample response 2. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm waiting for your response in the comments below this video. Try to tell me, did the student lose any marks in sample response 2 or not? Thank you very much for watching. That's sample response 2. I'm waiting for your response. Thank you very much for watching this video, and stay tuned for the second mini writing capsule in which we will discuss the letter writing. Bye bye.